Next, I will use the pointed beveler with the parallel lines, and we will use that to bevel in between all of the feathers. Notice how I get up to where the points come together as we divide the feathers, and it will begin to make these feathers stand out and create separation from one. Now, with the smaller ones that you see here, I don't hit quite as hard, and I'm making sure that I'm up in between the feathers. As we get down to these larger ones, we can hit a little harder and drive the tool a little bit deeper. We will do this all over the bird. Please note I am also using this pointed beveler on the feathers down on the legs to get the separation on those feathers. And here is a view of the bird after we have used the pointed beveler to create separation between all of the various. We will now continue with the diagonal line bevelers. By selecting the beveler with the proper diagonal lines, it's probably hard for you to see, but these lines run out at an angle the way a feather normally would have the texture going. So besides putting the lines on there, we're also separating and giving some depth and dimension to these feathers. We will also use that same tool on the wing feathers as you see me doing here. Please note these feathers here are rather fully exposed, so we need to get some diagonal lines going in two directions and create a quill in the center. So I will use that same tool, but notice that I'm striking it very lightly. And I'm going right up the center of the feather. Now I will turn it, and I will use the tool with the lines going in the other direction, and I will carefully create a quill in the center. Take your time. This will look good, but you want to make sure that you get a little bit of separation in the center to create the quill. Tap very lightly. Now I am using the bevelers with the diagonal lines to separate the feathers, and here again my lines are coming out and down when I'm beveling on this side of the feathers. If I bevel on the other side, I will use the other tool like I would right here. I would turn it around, and then I would use the other tool to bevel on this side. And now we'll use a pointed modeler to add some detail on the bird. There's a little ridge on his beak, as you can see me putting in here. Put a little skin ridge underneath the eye, very lightly. And I will also use the pointed modeler to very lightly round the eyeball, very lightly. Do not press hard, because otherwise you will create a flat eye and he'll look like he's blind. There's also a nostril that you can put in there with the swivel knife. We'll come down now to the legs, and I'll use the modeling spoon to put some marks on here and kind of create some roundness. And we'll do this also on the toes. Notice that I'm putting these marks in with an arc to create roundness. And that's about all we need to do to the legs. Next, I will use the hair blade tool to put texture on all of the feathers on the entire bird. Now we will do that by coming from the edge in toward the quill, and notice I'm pulling it all the way in as far as I can, keeping this angle just like it would on a real feather. After we have used the hair blade tool, we can come back with the swivel knife and put some random short cuts, as you see me doing here, and we'll do them in the same direction as the original cuts that we did. These need to be random. You don't want to show a pattern of any kind. It's kind of a natural looking wear and tear that eagles get involved with on a regular basis. And this is how we'll do practically all of the feathers on the wings, the tail, and the leg. We will also use the hair blade on the head, as you see me doing here. These feathers are almost like hair, and we will do the entire head like this, doing it a little deeper than we would do on the feathers. As we get up here to the smaller feathers, we can reverse the hair tool and use the smaller end to texture these smaller feathers.